Unless ministers have a real plan and real determination, nothing changes. We've got to have courage. When Nigel Farage walks in through number 10, he's going to give the civil service the plan, and he's going to say, this is what we're going to do, and these are the people I'm bringing in to help me do it. From that moment, the elected representatives of the British people will be running the British government, and that's the change that's needed most of all. I've joined Nigel Farage's party because I believe in him and I believe in the vision that he's setting out for the country, and I believe that Britain needs reform. We've got to have substantial change. I think we have a country that is demoralised, anxious, but it's because the country as a whole doesn't know what it is or who it is, and that's because the people at the top have lost faith in our nation. What we need is leaders who get that, who are not ashamed of our country, who are not ashamed of the idea of the community, of people looking out for each other in their neighbourhoods. So my job as the head of the preparation for government team, my job is to take those proposals and turn them into a plan for government. So what's the legislation we're going to need to pass? When are we going to need it? How are we going to reform the civil service so that it actually does what the politicians demand? And it's going to make it work the way it should work, the way the public think it works. Our slogan is family, community, country. It's the politics of home.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Danny Kruger, MP.
Well, let me just start with this point. There is no other party in Britain that could put on an event like this, that could fill a crowd like this. So firstly, just thank you, and well done Reform for doing this. You know, they're doing it every night, so this is the third night in a row. And I think they're doing 18. No, I'm just doing one. This is me, done, Swindon, that's it, because I'm MP round the corner here. But David and Nigel are on the road. So, I mean, it's true, probably the Greens could get a crowd together. The problem is they couldn't actually organise an event to get them together. That said, we just heard it kind of from Matt. You know, the Greens, they're quite good at organising postal votes, aren't they? They can manage to organise a family voting, as we saw up in Manchester. And listen, I was speaking about that in the Commons the week after that by-election. What's going on with the voting there? Something went wrong. And behind me, up pops Jeremy Corbyn. You remember him? He was the one who used to get all the dodgy votes. But the caravan has moved on, and it's not poor old Jeremy. He was very angry with me. I was insulting people. He said. But listen, that's how it is. Now the torch of the radical loony left has passed to the Greens, and we've got to absolutely stand against them. Because listen, obviously they're mad, obviously they're crazy, but here's the problem. They actually seem to be in power. It is Corbyn and Polanski and the people that they influence who actually seem to be running our country. So, did you see, it's good news. Last week, the Bank of England has announced they're not going to have Churchill on the banknotes anymore. He's a very divisive figure, you see, Winston Churchill, all that kind of winning World War II, you know, very controversial record he has. People don't like it. So they're going to put trees on the banknotes. The Greens will be happy with that, unless they're English trees, of course. That would be racist. But and I mean, maybe that's just a silly, you know, bit of nonsense. But actually, that indicates something about the kind of leadership we have in this country. That's the Bank of England. But look at the actual government. Our leaders are allowing the prosecution of British Army veterans for actions that they took on operations that they were sent on by the British government, for actions they took under the rules of engagement. They're being pursued through the courts by this government, by lawyers exactly like Starmer and Harmer and the other human rights shysters. It is outrageous what this government is doing to our people. How many forces families have we got here? Quite a few. okay, listen, you know reform is going to put an end to this madness. We will stand up for our veterans and stand up for our troops. This is also the government, thank you, this is also a government that is giving away sovereign British territory to a hostile state, an ally of China, and paying them for the privilege of taking our territory away. And it is a government that is allowing hundreds of illegal immigrants, fighting-age men, to cross British waters in rubber dinghies every week and land on our beaches. Or actually, they put them in lifeboats so they don't get wet landing on our beaches. And then they are put up at public expense, and the vast majority of them are allowed to live and work in this country for the rest of their lives. Now, someone once said the best way to understand an organization is to imagine that it is run by a cabal of its enemies. I think that applies to our country. Doesn't it feel like that? It literally feels like we are run by people who oppose us. People who do not understand this country, do not love this country, its people, its traditions, its institutions. But, listen, change is coming. You can see it all around. You can see it here. You can see it all over the country. Change is coming. Reform is coming. And when we are in government, this country will be run by a cabal of its friends, people who actually love this country, love its people, love its traditions, and are going to stand up for Britain. But it starts here. It starts here. For us, it starts here in Swindon on May the 7th. And listen, I actually love Swindon. I think Swindon is beautiful. Somebody laughed. Who laughed? Who laughed? Listen, they might laugh about Swindon and other places. In Swindon, we don't laugh about Swindon. We actually recognise the brilliance of this place. And it genuinely is. It genuinely has so much going for it. Okay, I know you come out of the station. There's a decent-looking pub in front of you. I know, as Nigel would say, it's a start. But that's kind of it. The rest of the centre, as David discovered it today walking around, it is miserable. It's just a sort of wasteland of empty car parks and ugly tower blocks, and then you've got boarded-up shops everywhere. I know all that. That's obviously true, and it's really depressing. But there is no town in this country with greater potential, genuinely, with richer opportunities than Swindon, in the middle of beautiful Wiltshire, on the main artery between London and Bristol, on the motorway, on the railway, on the data cables. The data cables that run in bringing all the data from North America under the Atlantic into London. They run through Swindon. Don't tell the Chinese. They will build an embassy on it. But that's an incredible asset. We are in the perfect location for prosperity. And actually, you can see it. You can see the beauty and the potential of Swindon all around. It's got this, it's the home of rail. It's where Brunel started the railway revolution that drove the industrial revolution of our country, drove the modernisation of the world. It started here. And you can see pockets of real beauty here. All the old GWR buildings. You've got the old town itself, a lovely spot, lovely place. Shows what a community that's confident and prosperous can do. And it goes in cycles, a place like this. So prosperity with the railways. Then in the 1980s, the railway left, GWR stopped, and everybody said that's the end of Swindon, it's going to decline. But no, something else happened. Honda came along, car manufacturing, huge plant set up in Swindon, bringing thousands of well-paid high-tech jobs. And then British government ruined the car industry, so that was the end of Honda. But everyone said that's Swindon's now going to decline. But no, something brilliant is happening here on that site, that huge Honda site. We've now got an enormous new logistics distribution operation and loads of new companies setting up. And you know what? Something even more exciting. On that site, in the old days before Honda, they used to make aeroplanes. In the 1930s and 40s, on that site, they made the Spitfires that defended these islands in the Battle of Britain. That is Swindon's legacy. And you know what they're building now? Do you know what's happening across Swindon? Drones. We're building drones here. This town is becoming the absolute centre of drone manufacturing in the whole country. Amazing firms are setting up here. And on that site, on that Honda site, the MOD is thinking of establishing the country's biggest drone testing facility. We are going to build a new defence industry here in Swindon, and my goodness, don't we need that for our country? So listen, we do a lot of knockabout politics in Westminster, but I think everybody in Swindon wants the best for it, including the other parties. I'm not going to knock them. And actually, the MP for North Swindon, he's doing his best to bring that drone facility, that testing facility here. And I want to say I hope he succeeds. He's pushing his government to do that. I want him to win, and because I want us to build on that, and I want us to build on the plans that the Labour Council have been coming forward for redevelopment of the centre. But they are so limited. The fact is, Labour's vision is so small compared to what we can do here in Swindon. Just imagine what that centre could look like if you had a government and a council with real vision, real drive, and that believed in the private sector and private finance and the ability of a free market economy to drive growth. That's what we could do here in Swindon. And the fact is, at the moment, developers won't even buy land in central Swindon because the land prices are so low. It's a huge brownfield site waiting for vision and leadership, and that is what we're going to have if we win in a couple of weeks' time. We have an amazing local reform branch, Kurt Wakefield and others. I want to pay tribute to them for getting going. Yeah. Here he is. From a standing start, this guy and his team are building a fantastic campaign with such a confident vision of what Swindon could look like. With the Reform Council, we can get going immediately on improving the quality of life across our council, saving money, cutting down on all the mad, wasteful expenditure that Labour are responsible for, and starting to rebuild the centre. And then, when the general election comes, whenever that is, we're going to be ready. And that's my job in Westminster, to make sure we have a plan and we have the people in place so that when the election comes, we're going to actually go in there and make the system work for us and for Nigel Farage. And I want to end just by saying I have such hope in that man, because he has just been proved right, hasn't he? I've been a Tory for all those years, just thinking I agree with that bloke, that annoying campaigner on the margins who keeps eating into our vote. But he's right, and he's been proved right time and time again, and the public are now looking for someone who has absolute, authentic, genuine commitment to what he believes in. And he has a plan and he has a vision, and he's assembling the team for victory. So our democracy is going to do its job, I think. I hope it's going to start here in a couple of weeks' time in Swindon, and then we're going to go on to win the general election and transform our whole country. But first, let's make Swindon great again. Thank you all very much. Thank you.